All right. All right, looks like we're live. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second virtual mentorship vlog brought to you by the Foundry Educational Foundation. My name is Emily Shedlarski, and I will be your host today. Last week, if you tuned in, you saw Lizeth Medina Ballet present on the value of internships. And then this week, we'll be talking about developing your network. So this is a great start. You're already off to a strong start here for coming in and being a part of this, as well as the FEF student engagement we're doing. Thanks to COVID, it's been a little bit of a problem. A lot of internships aren't happening for students, and we still want you guys to come out strong and be able to start the industry like you normally would, given all the different variables that we're dealing with right now. So this is one of the things that we're doing to help. So again, my name is Emily. I'll be hosting. If you tune in next week, Steve Sikorsky of Magma will be presenting on leadership, and he will be giving 5 different skills that he uses to be a successful leader, and that will be a really good presentation. He's been wildly successful, so for myself and other people, not just students, I feel like it'd be advantageous to just tune in and see what he has to say. So, but again, this week we're going to be talking about your virtual network or maintaining your network. So in a reminder, we'll be going through and answering questions. So if you have something you want to ask or say, please feel free to put it into the comment section. I will do my best to address those quickly. There are no wrong, questions. It's a really relaxed environment. This is Facebook, please have fun, relax, ask away. All right, and just a little background on myself. I was an FEF alumni. I went to UAB, go Blazers, got my bachelor's and master's in engineering there. I then ended up attending CIC as a student, presented at CIC. I'm on the board of FEF now, very active in the ambassador program, as well as with the fund enhancement and a few other things with FEF. So there's a lot that we can do to keep you guys engaged and better support you. So whenever you enter the industry, you have a smooth transition. All right, so let's jump into this presentation. So what is the value and why do you care about your network? Humans are very social creatures. I'm sure plenty of you, especially with COVID, are missing going out and seeing everyone and interacting. And there's a lot more than just being social. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with it. We're social because it's mutually beneficial. It benefits your peers, it benefits you. And that's the same thing that's going to transcend into your career. So being social, networking is going to help you not only be successful, but also help your company be successful. So it's advantageous that you take advantage of this. So, besides being communal creatures, having that network and having people you can talk to ask questions or to seek advice it's going to help you resolve issues a lot faster than you opening up the books and having to go through it all yourself. There are other people that have expertise and you should utilize them. And even if it's a student, maybe they have a connection or they've found something that works with this internship or whatever. I mean, it's advantageous that you build this network. So whether it's for your industry and your own personal success, or it's for your own company, it opens a lot of doors. It's really informative. It can also help you find jobs. I found my first internship through networking. I found my first job through networking. Please take the time to get to know everyone around you. And this industry is very social for all the numbers and math and science that goes into it. It's really communal. If you haven't been to any of the events, you'll see that. So where are you going to start your network, right? Well, you're a student and the students around you, start there. I actively work on almost a daily basis with students I went to school with, or I met at CIC or at AFS events. So please take the time to get to know your peers and establish a really healthy relationship with them, because it's a small industry. You're going to be working with them until you retire. So go ahead and get started. And then your professors. I go back to Dr. Ganau at UAB and Dr. Monroe all the time, whether I have questions or I need advice or just checking in. It's important to establish those relationships. And then after you get past that, just what you're doing right now, FEF, all the engagement we're doing, whether it's the webinars, whether it's trivia, whether it's, this, there are plenty of different ways right now. You can still virtually reach out and meet other students who have the same interests as you, who think middle's cool, and get involved. So go ahead and start doing that now. And then whenever you can start going back, when we get back to a normal life and we're able to physically meet and greet and everything. You know, whenever you do those casting competitions, when you get to work with students, professors, vendors, Foundry men and women, I mean, those are great places to start that launching pad, right? And start building your network. Whenever you go to industry events, you know, you can meet people and try to get business cards. If you haven't already made yourself a business card, make one, because when you pass it to somebody, they're more likely to give you one back. And that was a trick I used when I was a student. Guilty. But you can do that. They're not expensive. Sometimes it's free to get your first 50. And so go ahead and get those created and just have that in your back pocket, and then start adding these people on your LinkedIn. If you haven't already made a LinkedIn, Dana Cooper gave a really good presentation a little while ago on the value of LinkedIn. Watch it, establish one, and start connecting with people there professionally. And then you can also do follow-ups as well. I highly recommend that, and we'll touch base with that a little bit in the future. And again, when things get back to normal, you'll have like industry nights and tours, etc. Please feel free to engage with people, ask questions. You know, whenever people see that you're inquisitive and you're like, well, how does that work? And that's cool, and you get excited, they're more likely to engage with you and remember you and want to work with you in the future, right? So, you know, and then, you know, co-ops, internships. Lizeth commented a lot and made a lot of really good points about the value of internships in the last webinar. So if you can go back and watch that, that's a good one, but just take the time to build those relationships when you're physically on the premises of a facility, whether it's maintenance, foundrymen, women, you know, office personnel. Branch out, meet people, talk, be nice, all right? And then, of course, whenever you start entering your career, you're going to be going to more AFS and FEF events, and you'll be going, you know, working with suppliers and vendors. And it's incredible the amount of knowledge people have and other people don't take advantage of. You know, everyone's a specialist in different areas, and our industry is so vast that it's impossible for you to know everything, right? So anyways, take advantage of those people. Whenever it comes to communication, this is something that I think is not really touched on very often. Is you want to start a strong foundation. So you want to introduce yourself, smile, relax your face, you know, be warm and welcoming, ask questions, keep the conversation about the person you want to like you. People are narcissistic, they're going to be happy to talk about themselves. And then try to remember, like, listen and fully understand what they're saying, and don't just listen to respond. And if it's always good to show that you're also listening by saying, oh, it sounds like you feel this way. Am I understanding that correctly? And people feel great about saying, oh, you're paying attention, you know, like you're giving me attention. I love it. And they'll be more likely to help you and work with you in the future. And of course, like, show gratitude. It doesn't take much to say thank you to somebody or say you enjoyed talking to them. I think another thing too is like your attitude. If you watched Lizette's presentation, you saw that she was just so like warm and inviting, and it's nice to talk to her, and people want to talk to her. So you want to be that person. It's going to help you build your network. All right. And then of course, like if you're asking questions and you don't know what to ask, start asking about their experience in the industry. What got them into foundries? What makes them excited? What do they like doing? You know, where do they see the foundry in like 10 years? You keep them, you know, you can focus on that until you can actually start building up a repertoire of like, okay, you understand what their likes are, their interests, and you can start asking about those, right? That common ground, right? Where you're no longer just a person. It's like now you guys have something you mesh with in common. And that's something, if you have a difficult time getting to know, like working with somebody, like they're challenging to be around, figure out what they're into, figure out what they like to do, right? Figure out what their hobbies are, and then get them talking about their hobbies, and it'll make you have an easier relationship and help you build that network. And just to step back a second, positivity and honesty are key here. Be genuine and try to be nice always. All right, and then you want to maintain these relationships. You've gone out, you spent all this time, you've met all these people, and you want to follow up with them. So if you're having a conversation with someone and this one individual that you know is brought up, well, go ahead and reach out to that person later and say, hey, I was talking to so-and-so and you came up and I hope you're well and blah, blah, blah. And just take advantage of that. You don't have to check in with somebody once a month, just every so often to let them know you're thinking about them and you haven't forgotten that they exist. And so I don't see any questions. And if that is the case, I can wrap this up. All right, that's fine. So in conclusion, thank you for coming in and watching this. I'm sorry, we did have one, thanks. The question is, what advice would you give to someone who is an introvert? So if you've met me, and I feel like quite obviously I'm an extrovert, I'm very social. I can talk to a rock probably, I mean, and have a good time. So if you are an introvert, there are plenty of ways to kind of like ease in. You'll see other people who are kind of quiet and you can approach them. You can go in with one of your friends as an extrovert and you guys can go together for a conversation. It Being introverted might actually be optimal because you won't be as needing to lead the conversation. You'll let them lead the conversation. You'll make them happy. And so, and just try to keep those questions in your back pocket, like ask them about themselves, what they like to do, how they got into the industry, how things are now, what are they working on, what do they want to see differently, how was their experience if they were an FEF alum, because there's an incredible amount of FEF alums everywhere. It's I wish I had actually researched a little bit more about how, as an introvert, to do that, but I feel like your best bet is to keep some questions in your back pocket and ask. And don't put yourself in a situation when you're uncomfortable. And sometimes you need to put yourself out there, but don't, if you're going to be clearly uncomfortable, just like step back, and that's okay. Not everybody's in your face and outgoing and over the top like I am. There are plenty of people in the industry that are calm, and I'm perfectly happy to sit down with someone that's an introvert and have a casual conversation and be calm and try to bring my excitement down. So again, try to keep those questions in your back pocket. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and wrap this up if there are no more questions. Thank you again for attending the second FEF virtual mentorship block. We're happy that you guys are here. We're excited about the future. Can't wait for everyone to get back together. Make sure you just follow the steps, follow up with LinkedIn, be polite and engaging, listen to, or talk to someone to listen and learn from them, not necessarily to respond. Feel free to ask follow-up questions and make sure you understood them correctly or so that you're engaged. And last week, again, we saw Lizeth break the ground here and give a presentation on the value of internships. Next week, at the same time, same place, tune in. Steve Sikorsky of Magma is going to be giving a presentation about leadership and the 5 tools he uses to be a successful leader. I'm going to be tuning into that one. I'm kind of excited about it. Hope you guys are too. And if you guys have any other questions, you can reach out to us here, or Emily, my name is Emily Shedlarski. I'm with Simpson. You can reach out to me personally. We'll be happy to engage. All right, with that, I'm going to end the video. You guys take care, stay safe, make good decisions.